Doing now. We're live now. Thanks, folks. It's the final interview on the final day for me at WordCampUSA 2022. I've got a great guest with me. I've got Marius with me. Would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the people that are watching the video?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Jonathan. So I'm Marius and I'm running WP-Riders agency. And we have been working during the last 8 years with non-technical founders, but also with marketing managers and helping them with the development part. What does that mean? So whenever they need to develop certain features or integrations in order to take their business to the next level, they work with us. And when they buy 1 hour of time out of our team, they get the development, they get the project management, they get the QA, the design, the SEO, the business analysis, and everything. And this is very convenient for them because they don't have to manage all of that.
Yeah, well, it's great. You've got, like you say, you've got two parts of your business. You've got this, and then you do some plugins in the WooCommerce space. Is that correct?
Indeed. So besides the agency, 2 years ago, we have launched a couple of add-ons under the brand Subscription Force, subscriptionforce.com. And these add-ons would add self-service capabilities to the WooCommerce subscription plugin. And what does that mean, self-service? For example, if you are an end customer and before you go on a vacation, so instead of canceling your subscription, you can, for example, pause that subscription until a certain date. And when you are back, it will just automatically resume. Or under the same umbrella, the self-service thing, you can add new products onto your subscription. You can adjust quantities, you can remove products. All of that by yourself without having to open up a ticket with a shop.
That's great.
Yeah.
So get back to WP-Riders. Like you say, you've been running that for 8 years. How did you manage to get the ball rolling? How did you manage to get your first clients to start using you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I started out as a solo freelancer on Codable. And up to date, I'm super grateful for what I've learned while working there. I think Codable, it's a great school for customer service and for communication. So I've learned a lot there. And throughout the years with my team, we have finished more than 1,800 WordPress projects. So yeah, when it comes to WordPress, our team really knows what works and what doesn't work. But how did I scale up from being a freelancer to an agency? I've done a couple of things, very specific, design and purpose. Number one, I have set aside money for 3 months. So whenever I will get my first 2 employees, I will have money to pay them for 3 months in the bank. That was like the buffer. That was the number one thing. The second thing that I have done is, and I was using a scheduler, like a tool called Harvest Forecast, where I would plan my client work. Okay, even though I was a solo freelancer, I would plan my client work so I can precisely calculate the deadlines and properly set their expectations. Now what I have done, I have filled up my pipeline for 2 months in advance. So you see, I have basically built 2 buffers, the cash buffer and the work buffer. And then I was fairly comfortable to hire the first people, and that's how I scaled. So first I got my first clients through Codable, then I got the first employees, and then I scaled from there.
So it's step by step.
Step by step. Yeah, step by step.
Fantastic. So how do you select and get your employees? Do you kind of utilize freelancers and see how they go, and then you employ them, give them more hours if they're available? How do you? And has that been difficult to get the right people to fit into your company?
Probably contrary to what runs in the industry, we only had difficulties a couple of times in getting people, but nowadays and throughout the 8 years, we were okay. We would find easily the right people. And the way we have approached this is by looking for people who would match our value system. So we would, and we have that written on the website. I have written that down from day zero uh, in a document, and then I would put those values in the job ad, because that would telegraph, hey, we are looking for people who value this and that. Specifically, we are looking for people who are accountable and who can be relied on, and who would like to have a team that they can rely on. Number two, we are looking for people who value honesty, and we define honesty as always doing the right thing. Number three for us is personal development, growing together. So we encourage learning, but we also encourage sharing in the learning. And number four is contribution. That is, we've got so much learning and information out of the open source community, and we don't want to just keep it to ourselves. Would like to generate more help and information. So we help the community. I've been personally running a local meetup for 5 years. When I'm saying personally running, I was the host, but obviously I had a team. Then we contributed tens of hours to the WooCommerce support. We have published code snippets just to help others with solutions. So that is our value number four. So the way we find people is by looking to those who resonate, who are on a certain wavelength with us. And obviously, besides that, we have technical tests, live coding, homeworks, and stuff like that. And by the way, we are currently 20 people in 6 countries, and half of our people are on a full-time job with salaries and taxes and everything in place, and half of them are contractors. Yeah. Those aren't necessarily freelancers. Those are people who like to work with just 2 or 3 customers. Yeah. It's a bit different than freelancing and hustling. We don't want to hustle. We just want to have 2 or 3 stable, let's say, employers or clients. So this is how we are finding people. And the last year, we have got an internal recruiter as a full-time person doing recruitment, and that was an excellent move.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was an excellent move, and it is up to date. Yeah, she's doing a great job, and it allowed us to hire between 1 and 2 people per month, good people.
Right. So, obviously, what are some of your most favourite type of clients that you resonate, have the best fit with? Are there any particular industries or particular type of clients that come to your mind as soon as I put the kind of question to you?
I understand what you're saying, and we have pretty well nailed down this qualification criteria when it comes to sales. Obviously, we're not trying to work with everyone, because if there's no fit, we know they eventually would not be happy with us, and that's why we qualify the clients before working with us, and we are working for almost any industry. We're not focusing on a specific industry. Rather, we avoid working for industries that are in the CBD or ammunition or escort space or adult websites and stuff like, or just websites that promote harming other beings, or I don't know, insecticides and so on. We avoid that. It's a written principle. It's about doing the right thing. It's value number 2 for us. But other than that, we do work with non-technical founders, as I've mentioned. And usually they come to us at a point when they earn enough money that they can afford a team, but they don't have yet enough money to have a team of their own. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
So it's a window for them and for us of opportunity to collaborate. Yeah. So the ideal clients, they trust our judgment when it comes to technical choices. That's maybe very hard to measure, but that's fine. If we see there's no trust and some clients try to steer the process, it becomes harder to work together. because then it just becomes labor and not advisory and consultancy. And this is something that we are very good at providing consultancy alongside with the development. Consultancy when it comes to connecting some business objectives to a WordPress solution. When I say WordPress solution, it's a certain architecture, it's a certain choice of plugins, and a certain choice of custom features and how the custom features will glue together certain plugins. So those would be our ideal customers, those who just are non-technical and they trust our judgment.
I'm only making this assumption, but being that you've got also your plugin business and it's in WooCommerce, is a lot of your clientele with WP-Riders, is that around e-commerce, WooCommerce, shopping carts, that type of thing?
Not necessarily. Our clients are not brochure websites. What our clients are is e-commerce websites, subscriptions websites, marketplace websites, job board websites, and LMSs. This one. 90% of the websites would fall into this category.
And so do you exclusively just work in the WordPress space, or do you exclusively on WordPress?
Hence the name, WP-Riders.
Yeah. Because there are some other people I've spoken to, and they are 90 or 80%, but they do take some other platforms. That's why I asked. So, how have you? One of the factors for agencies over the past two to 4 years is in some ways the WordPress marketplace is fragmented with all the page builders, Elementor, Divi, Beaver Builder, Gutenberg. You've had multiple, and that's made. So what's your stance on that? Is there just one kind of page builder that you like working with and that you recommend, or how do you deal with that conversation when clients say, well, we like you to build something, but we like it to be utilising Elementor or Divi or this or the other?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Throughout the years, the main choice was Elementor or Divi, one of these two. Lately, during the last few years, we've seen more and more use cases when Gutenberg was a very good choice. Gutenberg provides, in our personal experience, provides more stability and reliability when it comes to changes. And what do I mean by that? Elementor, it's great when, and by the way, we have Elementor on our own website, and we've been using it for years. Okay, Elementor, it's great for and just like Gutenberg, for a marketing manager who just want to do some quick changes. They don't want to wait for the developer to become available, and that's totally fine. That's legit. Okay, now in Gutenberg, for now, you can't add too many local CSS lines and little customizations and things like that, which are a bit technical. And that's, for certain people, that's good, because it's not that easy to break your own website with Gutenberg. Whereas if you have an Elementor and your developer has added some paddings and margins in the Elementor, and when they move something around, chances are, in our opinion, that design will break easier if, let's say, you just reorder certain elements. With Gutenberg, you don't have this problem because everything is self-contained, and it's like a black box. You don't have access to that CSS. It's self-contained. It's a black box. That would be probably the main difference between the two. And in order to make the call and to make a decision, we would ask the client, have you ever heard about CSS? Do you know what's that? No, that's not a food. That's not a seafood, CSS. It is a language. Obviously, I'm joking here, but if they know about it and if they say, yeah, I would like to be able to poke my fingers into it, then probably Elementor would be a way that we would suggest. But if they are like multiple people changing the content and adjusting landing pages and creating landing pages like on a conveyor belt, like a lot of them, we would suggest not letting them edit CSS, none of it, and just having like a Lego box of custom blocks that they can use to quickly assemble whatever landing page they want.
All right. So you decided to diversify a little bit into the plugin, into the WooCommerce. What led to that decision to start building some actual plugins for the WooCommerce market?
Yeah, two things. Number one, we've seen patterns of needs around WooCommerce subscriptions. Actually, we have seen patterns in 8 or 9 areas, and we have analyzed about 8 or 9 business ideas before going with this one. By analyzing, we've estimated the market size. We have talked to 2 or 3 potential customers who would need that solution. Just by we try to ground our ideas into the reality and not just live in our own imagination and mind. This is something which I've done a lot in my previous business, product business, 2003 to 2013. I can say I have failed with 5 different products because I used to live a lot in my own head. So this time we would analyze the ideas and we would find patterns in their needs. Okay, and the second reason for that is, as I've mentioned, I have tried to build 5 different products. We actually had some success to a certain degree. We got some traction. We had some couple of hundreds of customers, but there was never a successful business in my previous software company. But I have learned some stuff in relation to product management and how to build products. And therefore, I just wanted to capitalize on that experience. And I think it was a personal ambition, as in, hey, am I going to always just fail at building products? How about I try it one more time? And there was a lot of anxiety to going back to product business. You know, when you fail again and again and again, it wasn't an obvious failure. It was that kind of in between failure when you can keep going and it's painful and you keep going and it's painful. And eventually, me and my partner said, okay, let's just stop it.
Well, it's a difficult, obviously a lot of people give up too soon. But on the other hand, you've got to know when you've given it the best shot and it just hasn't panned out.
10 years, 5 products, 3 different technologies. We've done many versions for those products and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's some of the key things you've learned about with these plugins in the WooCommerce space? Have there been any 1 or 2 specific lessons that you've learned in that process?
In the process of developing WordPress plugins and
in the WooCommerce.
and what I've learned from the past experience.
Yeah.
Well, number one is ground my ideas into the reality. That is, and by the way, that's one thing that completely changed my perspective. It's so-called the jobs to be done theory. And we have an article on our website on the WPriders.com about the job. How do we employ the jobs to be done theory? And it's mainly about looking at a product as if it's an employee that the client employs that product. So basically, we have now a microphone and a camera. So there's a specific moment when we employ this product. And similarly, you can apply this to a plugin. They would not use a plugin in any context, anytime. So a job to be done. So you hire the product for a specific job to be done in a specific context, and the context is given by the environment. Where are you, with whom, at which time of the day, place, are you at work, at home, and so on. So by observing these things, I was able to understand far better when does that pressing need arises, so that we can actually solve a real problem, a real existing problem, and not just some stuff that lives in my mind. So the jobs to be done would be one huge learning.
And when it comes to the WooCommerce and having your plugins available, how do you market? How do you market these plugins? Are they available in the WooCommerce store? And how has there been any kind of challenges, things you've had to learn about getting them there? And
Oh, I see. So initially we acknowledged that we want to develop the products without investing too much in the marketing. That's why we went straight ahead to the WooCommerce marketplace. We got accepted, and then we started getting some traction, and now we have about 200 paying customers. Um, and that was a good move because we were able to invest into the product rather than focusing on the marketing. And after we launched our second product, which is called Buy Once or Subscribe for WooCommerce subscriptions, we saw, and as you can see, even the name tells the job to be done. When a website owner will employ this plugin, it is when they want to add this feature of buying a product, a simple WooCommerce product, or with a radio button, subscribe now. And when you press subscribe now, you have a drop down that lets you choose the frequency of the subscription. And we were fortunate enough, because of the growth that was there, to be, I think 2 weeks ago, we got featured on the WooCommerce page. We were very, very happy about it, obviously, as a featured product. Yeah.
right. So when it comes to WooCommerce, the main SaaS competitor is Shopify. Do you get a lot of customers that utilize Shopify that are looking at WooCommerce, or are they looking at both at the same time? Got any insight about that?
What we see is customers who already have a WooCommerce shop. So I'm not saying what you are telling about is not happening. I'm just not seeing that,
No.
because in the life cycle, when they come to us, they already have a shop
Right.
with
Yeah.
WooCommerce.
Right.
Uh, when it comes to the choice of WooCommerce, we have built some pretty large shops, and we have actually recently launched it 1 week ago. It's the Panasonic web shop website for Poland, and we are now continuing to build a Panasonic Czech Republic website and then the Romanian one. And for them, that Shopify was by no means a choice at all, because they wanted so many nuanced features that Shopify. Well, I'm not an expert in Shopify, uh, but WooCommerce seemed to be just the right fit for what they wanted. Myriads of nuanced needs. You can imagine, it's
Yeah.
a huge brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what brought you to WordPress US 2022? Because I presume you live and are based in Romania. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, indeed. It was a long travel. It was a 24-hour door-to-door travel, 3 planes, but it was worth it. I was craving for shaking hands and watching people in their eyes and meeting old friends that I kept seeing at other WordCamps before COVID.
Yeah.
And just, I would say,
So did you
reconnecting.
go to Porto?
Yes, I
Because
was.
I went there.
I was in Porto, and I just wanted this to be a continuation of keeping up with the community and meeting like-minded founders and developers and maybe investors and CEOs.
Yeah, sure.
So it's about connection, reconnecting. That was the
So
main driver.
what is the WordPress community like in Romania? Is it something growing? The meetups before COVID. What's the WordPress community like in Romania?
It was constantly growing, the community in Romania. Um, I have been, as I mentioned, I have been running for 5 years the local meetup as the host, and I was seeing more and more new faces, and I've seen people who have not been working with WordPress, and after the meetup, they started to learn and to apply, and now I personally know a few very, very good designers who learned how to do WordPress and they have successful businesses and now they have a few employees. So it has been growing. And besides that, as we speak, we are running the so-called WP-Riders Academy, where we basically, and that's our first edition, we took 7 students, and for 3 months, we are teaching them WordPress for free. That's it. If they will end up working with some other company or with us, that's off the table. We're not concerned about that. It is about contribution, the fourth value, and helping others as we've been helped by others. It's just paying forward. Yeah, and it's going on, and the feedback is it's extremely good because it's a very hands-on course. Like they learn how to code, and the others they watch, and our developer teacher they would correct them, they would give feedback, they would show, and the others would watch, and then they will go home, they will have some small homework, then they will come back. So for 3 months, 2 times a week, they meet for about 4 or 5 hours in total. And yeah, we are very, very excited about it. So yeah, the community is growing and we are happy to be pushing it forward.
Right. So to finish off, would you say that what's the mixture of clientele? Is it mostly European based, or is it split 50-50 North America and Europe, or is it?
I would say it's 50-50.
Oh,
Yeah, 50% of our customers are in the North America, and the rest are in Western Europe, and a few clients in Australia. That would be
those Aussies. Those Aussies.
yeah.
Right. I think we're going to wrap it up. It's been great talking to you and hearing about your success. I think we've had some really fascinating conversations today with a load of WordPress people. And we're going to wrap it up. Hopefully you've enjoyed the interviews. I've got some good feedback about them actually. And we'll see you soon, folks.
Yeah, see you soon. Thanks for the opportunity.